Welcome to Meowify. Today we are headed back into the realm of r/MaliciousCompliance. This first story is regarding a company who does shipping of steel. Okay, might be a long one, so sorry in advance. About 10 months ago, I worked dispatch and transport for a company who was in the steel reinforcement industry. I generally worked with customers to have their steel arrive when they needed it, so they wouldn't be delayed as best as I could, and occasionally would have to ask other customers if they could reschedule or if their delivery was time critical. My original supervisor had left for a better opportunity at a rival company about 5 months prior, and I now had to report to the higher-ups because they refused to either promote me or hire someone to fill his position, and instead just transferred someone from interstate who was from another department, not transport, to do the easier parts of my job, calling customers who had multi-level buildings to pre-plan an approximate date of when they would need certain work plans put into production. While I had to continue to do the bulk of the delivery planning, truck scheduling, driver manifests, and booking any small courier work, although during the week leading up to this malicious compliance, she was on leave and I had been doing everything. Now, the rule of thumb was account customers who paid a premium delivery got priority, then standard account customers, followed by one-off or cash sale customers, unless the customer happened to pay for the premium delivery service. Unfortunately, sales and management had started getting the idea that they could get every delivery done whenever the customer said, "Jump!" because I had been hitting the target with about a 99% hit rate, with the exceptions of when weather or machine breakdown became a factor. So I got a call from one of the customers, we'll call him John Doe, who happened to be a cash sale, telling me he needed his steel on site approximately 80 kilometers away, 50 miles, at 7 a.m. on Monday on a truck with a crane, but couldn't accommodate a semi as there wasn't room on site. Problem was that this was on Friday in the afternoon, 90 minutes before my finishing time. I told the customer, "I'm sorry, but there is no way I could get 23 tons of steel produced and delivered to him by 7 a.m. as his site was at least 60 to 90 minutes away depending on traffic, and our crane truck drivers start at 6 a.m. so they first needed to check and tie down their load before getting the okay to leave by the safety officer on site, but also all our production capacity was full, and his steel, which was originally booked for Tuesday afternoon, was pre-approved for a semi with no crane, as they had one on site. Now, the silence was deafening, as I knew exactly what was coming. JD had started a huge tirade about how his steel needed to be there or he'd miss the concrete pour, and his steel fixers needed it ready to go the moment they finished their site meeting. I guess they had an hour-long site meeting, and that their crane was not arriving on site until the following week when the prefab walls arrive. Now, to be fair, I had just had a week of hell already, and this guy was the last thing I wanted before I was to enjoy my weekend, so I simply responded with the, "I'm sorry, sir, but my hands are tied at this point. If you had called yesterday and I had time to try and rearrange some jobs, it would have had a slight chance of being pushed up, but as it is, now I wouldn't be able to A, have the steel be produced, or B, have 2 crane trucks spare to dedicate to one delivery." Before he can resume his rant, I tell the customer, "I can try for Tuesday morning, but again, at this point, only half of the order would get there, and I would first need to have a driver agree to start early to be there by 7 a.m. JD, "That's not good enough. I pay good money for this steel, so I can expect it when I need it." "I understand you need the steel. However, you're asking me to prioritize your work over another that was already booked and confirmed." "And your point? Just get me my delivery." My point is, you are asking me to sit here at my desk for another 2 hours while I attempt to find the trucks needed from outside hire companies, ask the production team to work overtime tonight and tomorrow to complete the extra work loading onto 2 separate trucks, and try to convince 2 drivers to start at least half an hour earlier to have a chance at being there by 7 a.m. if they are quick at tying down their loads, as well as the extra work the morning crew will have on Monday to load 2 other trucks that couldn't get preloaded as they're outside hire and won't get here until 6 a.m. at the earliest, and that's assuming I can even find the trucks on such short notice, considering most companies have their trucks completely booked out by midday for the next business day. F you! Don't tell me you can't do it. Last week I ordered 50 lengths and it was here 3 hours later, so don't effing tell me you can't do it. May I ask who you ordered it through? We have a few sites around the state that hold stock materials that can be couriered, and I assumed correctly that this was what happened. Dave is the guy I normally speak to about that stuff. Oh, from our site that is literally 20 minutes from you that had the stock on hand, so only needed to put it on a truck that was going that way? Apparently, this is where my smart butt nature had pushed him over the edge, because he hung up on me, and I had wrongly assumed that he got the message, that he was asking the impossible, and conceded, but no. I had gotten a call from the big boss, telling me to come up to his office about 10 minutes later. When I got there, the sales manager was also there. Boss, what's this I'm told you refuse a customer their delivery? Before I can respond, sales manager, I just got off the phone to a customer who was put on account telling me that you are rude and offensive and that he expects his delivery. Okay. So in answer to your question, boss, yes, I have refused a customer their delivery on the grounds that we can't make that time slot, as we are already booked up until Tuesday afternoon. And no, sales manager, I wasn't rude or offensive, but if he took offense to anything I said, then that's on him, as offense is taken, not given. Okay, why can't we make that delivery? Well, because the 23 tons of steel he ordered was originally confirmed for Tuesday afternoon on a semi with no crane, as they apparently had a crane on site. However, he asked for it to be Monday morning at 7 a.m., split onto 2 rigid crane trucks only 25 minutes ago. I thought this was a satisfactory answer, and assumed they had realized that the guy was being a jerk, but the sales manager said instead, "What do you mean? That's no reason we can't get the steel to him." At this point, I had lost my patience, as the sales team seemed to think they could get their way no matter what, because management always backed them. I don't know what it's like in other countries, but here in Australia, we have 2 ways of reacting once we lose our patience. Get angry, or become a downright smart butt. I chose the second path. Apart from the fact we have 280 tons of steel already booked for other customers, all our crane trucks are booked to confirmed slots, and I would have more chance of meeting the Queen of England at a local pub while Ozzy Osbourne was biting the head off a bat than getting another 2 trucks booked before I finish. There's no need for that, but surely we can resolve this so everyone is happy. Get the steel to the customer and I'll be happy. Stop thinking that I have a magic truck spawning wand that I wave every time you guys place an urgent order or a customer rings, complaining they can't change the date and time of their delivery, and I'll be a little less annoyed. This is where things went south. Well, this is a potential account customer, so here's what needs to happen. You will find a way to get this done, or you will find another job effective immediately. Well, looks like I'm finding another job, because there is no way I can get 2 trucks from here to site by 7 a.m. Monday morning and keep my other job deadlines that I have already confirmed. I then stood up and walked out of the office back to the dispatch office where my desk was. wiped my personal files, my own notes and spreadsheets I kept that helped me in my job, from the computer I worked on, shut my computer down, and collected my personal belongings from the tea room and desk drawers. The guy who also worked in the office, he worked as the driver safety check and made sure the trucks were always maintained and compliant, maintenance guy or MG, asked what was going on, to which I shrugged and responded, "You know that Clyde North guy from before? He just complained to his sales rep, who in turn complained to Big Boss, and they told me to find a way of getting it done or find another job. So I guess I find another job." "Yeah, but you haven't printed any of the manifests or done the courier bookings for Monday morning." "I'm just following instructions and finding another job effective immediately because they did tell me to do that if I didn't find a way." The desk phone rang, but I didn't answer because it was the sales manager. Then it rang again, this time Big Boss, but I still didn't answer because as far as I was concerned, I was now fired, effective immediately. My mobile rang next from a number I didn't recognize, but I answered because of my karate school and being a potential new student. However, it was Big Boss on his personal phone. "Why didn't you answer your desk phone?" "Oh, because effective immediately were the words used. Hence, I no longer work here and am not obligated to answer the phone at the desk I am no longer employed to sit at." "Thank you for the employment, boss. By the way, you may need to send someone to organize the manifests and courier bookings for Monday, as I normally do that in my last 90 minutes to ensure any cancellations are caught before I leave. And good luck finding a way of delivering that steel to Clyde North at 7 a.m. on Monday morning." I hung up the phone and said my goodbyes to the few people I actually liked and got along with on my way out. However, as I finished putting my things in my car, I had the sales manager and Big Boss stop me at my car, telling me I had to finish out the day, to which I smiled and responded with, "Effective immediately are words I am happy to comply with." Got in my car and drove to my dojo where, thanks to my leave payout, I can now run full-time karate and kobudo classes. As far as I was told, they had to pay a stupid amount of money to the competitor to help them cover the various deliveries that had to be moved around to accommodate the jerk that wouldn't accept his original agreement. Oh gosh. Bosses, if you are listening at all, understand that most of the time, telling an employee to do something or get out will just make them leave all the quicker. You should probably think about that before you do what this boss did. Alright, this next one is from a movie theater, and a story from the perspective of a worker. I worked a month at a cinema, and here's a story of malicious compliance by a customer. The cinema I worked at had a no outside food and drinks allowed in the theater rule. This was to boost sales of the food and drinks sold in the cinema. We, the workers, usually let people in anyway if they brought snacks or whatnot, as the snacks and drinks inside were ridiculously priced and the manager was cool as well. The only time this rule was actually strictly enforced was when the general manager made his rounds fortnightly. In this case, there was a storeroom where we would keep the customer's stuff and give it back when they left. This one time, a guy around late teens comes in with his kid brother and a 2-liter bottle of Coke in his hand. The general manager was unfortunately there that day and was staring right at me, so I had to ask the guys to leave it behind. They said okay. Cue malicious compliance. The rules stated that outside food and drinks couldn't be taken into the theater where the movie played, not the facility itself. Dude comes out with his brother in 15 minutes and asks for the drink. I take it out, they each take a sip, give it back, and go back inside. They did this every 10 to 15 minutes and disturbed the other patrons and interrupted my work. I was happy to comply. And after they did this about 4 to 5 times, the general manager told me to just give them the bottle when they came out next, and I did. Honestly, one of my favorite moments of working there. So that is some good malicious compliance from the teenagers in the story. One thing to keep in mind, sure that the food at the theater is expensive, but they actually make most of their money from the concession stands, as most of their money ends up going toward royalties for movies, especially the first between week and month, depending on how many ticket sales they have. And it's actually really hard for a theater to make money if they didn't have exorbitantly priced snacks. Alright, our last story is going to be of an individual who was told to choose. And they sure did. This is officially my second case of malicious compliance I've posted. And believe me, I still can't grasp the blatant audacity of this. Some years ago, we see my sorry self, desperate for cash and slowly dying at my full-time job. I receive the kindness of a stranger and get a referral for the national big box of everyone's favorite blue-vested neighbor. I land feet first in the cafe and start running. At one point, I was blessed with working part-time there and full-time at my original job, and still volunteering at a local attraction. So much fun there. Not once did my fine fellows at my full-time ask me to sacrifice my fun for them, going as far as being awestruck by my commitment. However, I did sacrifice some of my hours and fun on the altar of my part-time for the summer. Well, my volunteering had the best after-hours event of the year coming up, and yours truly was trapped on a closing shift for my part-time. I politely, and regretfully afterwards, asked to flip to openings so I could have some time to decompress at the volunteering after slaving away. Mind you, I was asking plenty of time ahead of schedule and only for that event, so no hard feelings would be had. The boss says in clear, concise words, "We should not have to accommodate you any more than we have, since you are only part-time on weekends. You need to choose between your 2 jobs and your volunteering. If I was you, I'd drop the volunteering, since you're not getting any pay." What the crap? You want me to choose? Fine. Enjoy the fallout. I chose my volunteering and my full-time job. They never asked me to choose. They never said to drop what amounts to a passion for me. Yeah, I was a tad bit angry. Okay, a lot of angry. Very next day, I sauntered up to another boss-type person and turned in my notice. I said I couldn't accommodate their workload, yada yada blah blah blah. Blatant stupidity doesn't really make a good excuse. I let them have the rest of their schedule to give them time for a new hire. I'm nice enough for that. Any other scheduling they tried on me, I said nope, no way, no how, I'm very out. In the end, I was just gobsmacked by this, since they toot their horns about all the hours their own put into volunteering. I guess if you're not doing it for the company, it's in no way important enough to warrant flexibility. Whatever, you colossal jerks. And there's a comment below the story that I want to read as well. It's by a user called Adopts Death's Cats. The last bit summed it up. They only care about volunteering if it's organized by their company so they get credit for it. Unfortunately, an incredibly common corporate attitude. I hate this as it has become so common in the US, these huge companies, multi-million-dollar and often multi-billion-dollar companies, organize their employees, often with a great deal of understated but well-understood threats, to volunteer their unpaid off-work time to do good works that the company takes all the credit for. Basically, look how awesome we are because we got our workers to do off-the-clock work but didn't violate labor laws to do it. There is so much pressure in some of these companies on the workers to participate in these volunteer activities, some of which even involve the workers donating some of their money to the charity in question. I do admire the few companies around that actually set up an extra shift for which people are actually paid that they can come to and work as volunteers on a project. But they're still getting paid for their time to the company. Oh, having the workers donate some of their money to the charity in question definitely reminds me of one specific cause, charity, what have you, that I'm actually not going to name. But yeah, if you work in a corporation, you might have heard about them and their drawings that they hold for special parking spots and other tiny perks. Well, alright, that is it for Meowify today. I hope you enjoyed the video and watched to the end. If you did, please give the video a like, maybe leave a comment, or even subscribe. I am hoping to get back into the swing of things, doing weekly postings. And if you have anything you would like me to respond to or read, please leave it in the comments. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.